Hey everyone, in this tutorial I'll be showing you how to add a limit tolerance, a bilateral tolerance, and a unilateral tolerance to some of the dimensions on the base plate drawing that you completed in activity 6.10.b. So the first thing you're going to want to do in order to add these tolerances is to open up the base plate drawing, just as you did before. And so now I'm going to be getting these tolerances from our tolerances activity. So we're going to be using the same drawing we did before. The tolerances activity can be accessed from the modules tab or from the announcement for today's assignment. And it is 6.13. I'm going to go ahead and skip over the introduction as I'll be going over that in class. And I'm going to go ahead and get right to the assignment. And again, in the directions, it says to go ahead and open up the base plate drawing file that you created in the previous activity. And again, you're going to want to watch this video in order to understand how to complete these tolerances. So you are going to be editing the dimensions to show specific tolerances to the following dimensions. So the first one we're going to add is a bilateral or symmetric tolerance of 0.10 inches for the overall height, width, and depth. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my base plate, and I am going to be adding these tolerances to each of the height, width, and depth. So I'm going to go ahead and select the width first, and I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And then when I click on it once, it's going to give me this little box here that pops up, and that will allow me to edit the dimension. So I can move that up a little bit as well if I can't see it. And I'm going to click in the box that says tolerance. And this is a bilateral symmetrical tolerance. And we're going to go ahead and click on that. So again, just to see that, click on this little icon here in the middle. And then you're going to go to where it says symmetrical. That is bilateral. And you know it's bilateral again because you see the plus minus sign. And we're going to add a 0.10. And then you just hit enter. And it automatically adds it in to the tolerance. Then we're going to do the same thing for the height. And the depth. Okay, so those are our first set of tolerances. Now let's look at the next direction. The next direction is you're going to add a stacked limit dimension to locate the holes along the height dimension, 4 inches, such that the dimension can vary between the dimension given below and 0.03 inches larger. Okay, so now we need to make sure we're following these directions accurately. So we know we need a height dimension, and we're locating the holes. Okay, so that means the center of the holes. Okay, that's the hole location. And we want to make this stack limit 0.03 inches larger. Okay, so now that means that I want to add this stack limit dimension to the 2 because that's locating the center of the holes. So I'm going to click on that, click on our little box here, and then click tolerance. So this time I'm going to click on limits, and I want it larger, and I want it 0.03. Then hit enter. So now when I look at that dimension, notice the stack limit now has 2.03 to 2.00. So that's showing me that it can be anywhere in between 2.03 and 2.00 as far as an accurate dimension. Let's go on to the next tolerance. And the last one is going to be a unilateral deviation tolerance of 0.003 inches for the radius of the 4 corners. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our drawing. This is the radius dimension. You might have it dimensioned on a different corner, and that's perfectly fine. We only need to dimension it once because, again, all four corners were the same, so I marked that with 4x. So I'm going to click on that and then click on tolerance. And this time it's going to be a deviation, and it's going to be 0.003. And now I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And that should have added it in. There we go. And again, because it's unilateral, it's only going in one direction. It's going positive, so it's increasing anywhere from 0.503 to 500 would be accurate. Last but not least, we are going to add in what's called a general tolerance. So it says add the following general tolerances notes to the drawing. So notice here, this is a general tolerances that you can add to most drawing sheets when you're doing CAD drawings. And these will take the place, unless you interpret one of these specific or specified tolerances, these can be applied to all the remaining dimensions. And so this gets filled in on our title block. So we'll start with the tenths place. So point X is to the tenths place. So any dimension that just goes out to the tenths place, you can add this bilateral tolerance here. So we'll go ahead and do that. So this information is located on the title block. So it's actually on the title block. So we're going to have to zoom in here. And so now let's go ahead and edit here. So we're going to change, let's see if we can modify this a little bit here. So we have X, and we're going to have a plus or minus 0. Double check that. Yep, there it is, 0.020. Now point XX is plus or minus 0.010. Okay, and then the next one is point XXX. That's at thousandths place, 0.005. And last but not least is we have the angles of plus or minus 0.5 degrees. And there it is. So now we hit the check mark, and that applies on the drawing. Now we can zoom out, right click, zoom to fit. And those are the tolerances that we're going to include on our drawing. Please make sure that you submit this to the assignment, and I will be grading it shortly. If you have any questions, please let me know.